Hello, my name is Ewa Sniechowska. I'm a technical sales manager. I used to take care of a product which was called Prisma Cloud for more than last 4 years. But the company made a decision to evolve the product, which we firmly believe is for the better, and I will demonstrate how it is being improved. So let me make an introduction for you to the new product on Palo Alto Networks side. Almost new, right? Because you see that all the good stuff which has been developed for years within Prisma Cloud, it is still there, but better. So let me introduce Cortex Cloud. So, down. Here it is. Okay. So from our perspective, cloud and applications are becoming much more important potential vector from the attack perspective. So this is simply something which we cannot ignore. And Petr was giving you some examples when it comes to how AI is helping, but also how AI can be a threat. And let me also add some stuff into it, right? When we are speaking about application security, for a long time already, we cannot omit the developers. This is something which we have been preaching for a long time, saying, this is the group of people which you need to take care of. And security people, even SOC operational people, are seeing the need to create those safe guide rails for those people to operate effectively. Because if we don't do this, first of all, they are so creative and thinking so cleverly how they can improve and enhance the speed of their work that they can impose threats. But also, since they are effective, it's in most of the cases you see the ratio of having like 100 developers versus just a few security people. They are generating so much traffic, let's say traffic, maybe noise, right? That if any issues are happening, the number of alerts coming from those guys is multiplying tremendously. So having those safe guide rails, giving them some tips, giving them some feedback on how they should actually work in a secure but effective way, it's absolutely necessary. To give you an example, some weeks ago, Disney made it official, so they kind of were pushed to make it official, that they had a huge security breach. One of their employees, he was downloading a publicly available on GitHub a tool for generating, AI tool for making it easier to generate some videos and pictures, right? And as you can imagine, it was, of course, infected. It was malicious. The attackers got access to his work laptop. Then they got access to Disney's corporate Slack channels. They have downloaded loads of data, more than 40 million of private corporate messages in regards to internal stuff, to the projects, to customers, and so on, and then exposed everything to the internet, right? So you can see that those guys need some additional attention also when it comes to the tools which they are using. There are even some additional new threat attack vectors which are being identified. In March, there was one which is called rules file backdoor, which is connected to injecting malicious commands into popular co-pilots used by developers like Coursera or GitHub Copilot, right? So you can see that there are plenty of additional issues which we need to take care of. And if you add upon those additional numbers, which you can see here, about cloud risks being more and more prevalent in the environment, quicker time to exfiltrate, which was also mentioned by Petr, which is also a result of attackers being supported by AI and automation tools on every stage of malware development, a little bit like we are supported by automation as well at different stages of providing the protection. This is definitely something which we need to take care of. And for a long time, Palo Alto Networks was preaching something which was being called from code to cloud, security from code to cloud, meaning that we are trying to ingest different security measures at the different stages of application development. As you can see, starting from application security, going into visibility, cloud posture, going into runtime, basically from coding stage up to the application already running in the production, we could first of all get the visibility, but also, if needed, take preventional measures to stop, for example, the application from progressing into the pipeline. And it was being implemented using different numbers of modules. By the way, those different number of modules are also in many cases available, provided by different companies as a different single point products. For me, it's a little bit like a déjà vu. When we were having the discussions years ago about Palo Alto Networks firewalls, and we were saying, hey, you can actually have within one platform application identification, user ID, plus add those additional profiles, right? It was like 15 years ago. Then still we had some customers saying, yeah, but I have 10 different networking tools which are providing such security measures in my environment. And this is kind of the same story. Yes, you can provide security and visibility and prevention in applications and containerized networks in cloud using different point tools. But as you can imagine, from the perspective of operational efficiency, providing a unified answer to potential threats, platform approach, which Palo Alto Networks likes a lot, seems like a very, very and effective good fit. But this is not all. With Cortex Cloud, we are extending what we have been offering when it comes to cloud-native application protection, also to the SOC. So all the benefits which are coming from the perspective of providing automated response playbooks are also available now when it comes to cloud-native environment. There is one additional use case which we haven't been covering before, which is cloud detection and response. Basically, we are seeing that customers are saying, hey, just runtime security, observing the processes, detecting and preventing vulnerabilities in the cloud-native or cloud environment is simply not enough. We would like to extend extended anti-malware capabilities, which we are sometimes implementing on the endpoints, also to the cloud or cloud-native environment, right? And spoiler alert, with Cortex Cloud, this is possible. Big advantage which we are having with this approach, and that's also why we kind of decided to move Cortex Prisma Cloud together with Cortex, is having a unified data lake. So basically, for the whole portfolio of different Cortex products, we are able to grab the data and put it into the data lake, and then we'll be able to, first of all, correlate those informations effectively, make those data available for different products from Cortex portfolio, but also in a very easy way to provide a unified answer if this will be needed. That's why you will be hearing us a lot saying from code to cloud to SOC currently. But this is also giving you an overview how much of the extension can we have when it comes to providing the answer. So some things are not changing. So all the benefits which customers could have and still can have with Prisma Cloud are available. So we will be starting from introducing some application security measures, and like I was mentioning at the beginning, creating those safe guide rails for the developers. You can do it using, let's say, a few different options, but in general, we are trying not to push the developer to lock into the security tool. In general, they are not that much interested into doing this, and they are also not security experts, right? So still, making these rules and providing the feedback is on the security team. But what we are able to do, we have multiple different plugins, but also our own tools, which can give feedback to the developer, and they can actually, while creating, for example, IAC template or trying to execute it, they can get the feedback if, for example, the permissions let's take, for example, open ports, are a little bit, let's say, too broad, right? Same will be, for example, with scanning for secrets or vulnerabilities existing when it comes to trying, for example, to spin up a virtual machine. Pretty common case where the developer has been using a certain operational system, a version of operational system for a really long time. They are not tracking if it was identified with a certain vulnerability or not. They are just reusing it, right? So it's still on the security team to say, hey, please don't do it. Of course, the tool has a very broad spectrum when it comes to flexibility. So plus we have a very good understanding what's the aim of, let's say, application with which the developer is spinning up. So I can say, for example, hey, if this is dedicated for a developer sandbox, and in general, this infrastructure, this application won't land in the production, maybe I can be, let's say, not that strict. So that's the one thing, right? But when I'm saying, for example, hey, this VM, this node will end up as a part of the application which is running in the production, then I need to be strict for the very beginning. And actually, if there are certain security issues already identified at the beginning, I can stop the progress in the pipeline. You will see that the prioritization is our big priority here, right? So especially if you look at number of alerts which are being generated in the cloud-native cloud environments, it's really a lot. So it's kind of same story which we're also having when discussing XIM and alert fatigue when it comes to Security Operations Center. People who are trying to get a hold of cloud applications are really absolutely overwhelmed with those. And to manage those alerts in an effective way, that's one thing, but also to prioritize them, to provide response if needed. This is also something which we really need to take care of. And with having everything in the data lake, having capabilities to look at all the data coming into our solution, we're able to do it in a very effective way, pinpointed to the administrator where they should put their attention first. Plus, of course, as you can imagine, we are providing some automated remediation if needed via the playbooks coming from Cortex. When it comes to additional things, visibility also will be a huge part, right? So having a full overview of the infrastructure, of the application itself, and potential issues. This will be also our high priority, right? So here you can have an example from the perspective of graphical interface, where we are putting all together all the information connected to a certain app, right? So we will have a full visibility into, for example, if the infrastructure connected to a certain application was being spun up using infrastructure as code templates, were there some misconfigurations there or not? Shall I fix them already using some fixes in the template itself? Or maybe shall I go for application already running in the public cloud and, for example, close certain ports over there, right? So you always have this additional choice. We will be going, for example, for scanning of the repositories. If we can identify vulnerable images there, this is also a point for reaction. Coming all together, first of all, we will be able to, for example, identify the the apps with most risk, potential risk, and then create prevention policies also in the automated way. So coming back to what I was speaking a little bit before, we will be trying to reduce the number of alerts which are coming when it comes to application security, right? So we are having a single inventory for all of the assets. With Prisma Cloud, for those of you who had the opportunity to see this tool, maybe you remember that the different assets which are being ingested by different modules were a little bit separated. Currently, we have thanks to the integration via the data lake, we have a full scope of different assets which are available for the administrator to look through. So this is giving us much better options when it comes to having an overview, reacting, prioritizing, providing the risks. This is also giving us the opportunity, for example, to create very effective potential attack paths. So if I see an asset, I am pretty much aware of potential vulnerabilities connected to them. I can see the potential attack path, meaning the full access path from the cloud networking perspective. All of cloud assets, networks, load balancers, you name it, right? Which I need to go through to get access to this particular workload, for example. Plus, on top, what I'm able to see is I'm also able to see potential, for example, based on behavioral analysis, if in this particular case, in a recent time, I had additional traffic which was being generated, right? So we are giving the information about potential issues, plus on top, we are saying, hey, there is a vulnerability, plus in recent time, it was additional traffic generated. Maybe this is something which you need to take a look at. Of course, you can also create those preventive measures. There are options to do remediation more in a manual way. So system is giving you a suggestion what should be changed when it comes to the workload, when it comes to settings in the cloud environment, right? You can, of course, do it in an automated way and say, for example, every time someone is trying to expose my database and open port 22 to the internet, just close it, don't allow it. But I'm very much aware that when it comes to automation, customers tend to be a little bit reluctant. So we take this absolutely into the account. But system will be also giving you some tips like command line, for example, command, which you can copy and paste in the workload, in the virtual machine to provide certain changes, right? So there is a full spectrum of available options when it comes to the reaction. But what is important, a lot of remediations, options, and playbooks are available from the get-go within the tool itself, right? So as you can see here, we are having some issues in general. We are identifying potential issues and grouping them into what we call cases, which can be then resolved. And as you can see, within a particular issue, I'm seeing all of the assets which are affected as well by this issue. So from the perspective of doing things in an optimized, clever way, I'm able to basically, with one click, solve the issue for multiple different assets, right? And of course, as you can see, I also have an option to have a playbook, plus to have, if needed, playbook complete, meaning that the system already have taken care of this potential issue in a automated way. Pet was mentioning already about AI, how AI is supporting in general Palo Alto Networks products. And Cortex Cloud is no different, right? So we are getting a full intelligence stream when it comes to information coming about potential issues, about IOCs, indicators of compromise, malicious requests, IP addresses, and so on, coming both from Palo Alto Networks, from Unit 42, from other Palo Alto Networks solutions, right? So Wildfire, for example, Cortex Cloud is also leveraging Wildfire if needed to get some very specific information about targeted attacks and potential unidentified until certain time malware. Plus, we are using loads of different feeds, right? And this all, if you combine it with a unified data lake and all the data which we are collecting, it's giving you a very powerful tool when it comes to having a very good overview about potential risks in the environment. For those of you who are already familiar with Cortex XDR, like mentioned, all the capabilities in regards to anti-malware are also available within Cortex Cloud. So we are extending those capabilities available up until now for the endpoints, also to the cloud-native applications and also to the cloud. Within Prisma Cloud, the, let's say, 1.0 version of the product, we used to have the agent which was called Defender. Defender was a fantastic agent. I was a very big fan of it, but having said that, it didn't have anti-malware capabilities, right? It was providing very deep dive visibility into the processes, vulnerability protection, WAF capabilities as well, right? But anti-malware was not there. What we are using within Cortex Cloud is an agent called XDR for Cloud. So basically XDR agent dedicated for cloud/cloud native environments. Advantage is all this fantastic stuff which was available within the Defender is also available within Cortex for XDR for Cloud agent as well, right? So having the deep dive information about different layers, information about processes, information about vulnerabilities, runtime protection, web application firewalling, right? I was always making this joke that within Prisma Cloud we have the only web application firewall available within Palo Alto Networks portfolio. It's still the case, but now for Cortex Cloud. So basically, this very comprehensive capabilities can be still implemented, and they will be implemented as close as to the workload as possible, right? Because from the perspective of enforcing certain capabilities, you need to do it, especially in the cloud-native environment, at the level of the workload. As you can see here, the product also got a proper lifting, let's say, right? I was a little bit always jealous when it comes to how XIM was looking, because it was an absolutely brilliant tool from look and feel perspective. The good thing is that Cortex Cloud also has this unified look. Look is the one thing, of course, but the substance is mattering as well. So also from functionality perspective, you're also getting those additional information, right? So to give you also some examples here, we will have, let's say, smart scoring and smart grouping. So we are able to provide a very deep dive, let's say, information when it comes to what was the basics of making a certain issue a priority or not, right? So the extended scoring will help here as well. And then we'll go for the smart grouping. So to the certain issue, certain case on our side, you get a full overview of assets which are affected, what are the automation options, what are the alerts, and so on. So especially for SOC people, if they are willing to jump into cloud issues, into cloud native issues, this is becoming an extremely effective tool. So just to mention it, because maybe I haven't stated it clearly enough. So when it comes to, let's say, Cortex platform, customer kind of has a capabilities currently to pick and choose which kind of products they would like to use. And with the most extended version, they can actually have everything within one platform, right? Protecting endpoints with XDR, having cloud native protection, cloud visibility with Cortex Cloud, and then one ring to rule them all, XIM, right? But this is giving some questions when it comes to responsibilities, dividing the responsibilities between different teams. So you can still be very effective using Airbag and give certain access to certain capabilities, certain assets, and so on for different administrators. So you can keep the division where, for example, cloud architects are managing cloud security posture management, and you have dedicated team for the endpoints and so on. But the big advantage of such setup is actually visible here, where in case of any potential issues, SOC people, they don't need to, go after different team members. They can directly jump into the console, see what's the issue, and respond. Or ideally, if we have a predefined playbook which could work in an automated way, they don't even need to react, right? Because in a perfect word system can actually work for them. And as you can see, this is actually our main goal, right? To reduce the response time, to reduce the number of alerts which are being generated on the system side. So the Cortex Cloud by itself, if customer is just going for, let's say, this standalone product, it will have certain remediation and playbook options, but in general, to have the full scope when it comes to automation possibilities, ability to create more extensive playbooks, ability to alter the playbooks which are available out of the box, then XIM as a product is available, right? Let me maybe go here. Yeah, so to summarize from the let's say more theoretical perspective, we currently have a single platform, which is Cortex, enabling customers to have a full visibility also into the cloud environment, providing security from code to cloud to SOC if needed, with capabilities to identify those risks in a very effective way, prioritize them, and also provide a response on top. Let me very quickly cover let's say the packaging when it comes to the product itself. I know in many cases customers and partners are asking for it, and I'm mentioning it also because we took our lessons and we packaged the product also in a quite clever way, right? So within Prisma Cloud, we had a concept of credits when it comes to pricing. It was quite confusing, and I was always sweating a little bit while explaining it in an effective way. Plus, we also had this idea of different modules, right? And as you could see, with Cortex Cloud, we are really going for unified platform and unified approach. So splitting those options didn't make sense anymore. Also, from the perspective of the customer, we really have a feeling that while you're, let's say, leveraging the full spectrum of different capabilities within the product, the more effective you can be when it comes to seeing everything and responding in an effective way. We still kind of have those modules, and we are mentioning them more to give customers the overview what's available within the platform, but they are all available within the one package. And in a nutshell, we have two basic packages. One is called Cloud Posture Security, which is more connected into visibility into the environment. The very nice thing is that, yes, you have those, let's say, most popular capabilities, like cloud security posture management, entitlement management, right? But we are also including in it things like, for example, data security posture management, AI security posture management. So the ability to see all of the data which are, for example, stored in the public cloud, prioritize them, identify the potential sensitive data, and also prevent potential leakage. This is available within the package. We used to actually, it used to be a brilliant feature. We used to price it based on the number of data being scanned, which in certain cases was quite pricey. This is no longer the case, right? It's kind of included in the package. Application security, this is also now, let's say, unified within one package as well. If you're going for this approach where developers should have those secure guide rails and tips when it comes to code development and application creation, this will be also added here. The measurement which we are looking at here is workload. So basically, if you're going for scaling the system, we're asking how many workloads like virtual machines, nodes, and so on are in the environment, or looking as a per developer measure. For those customers who would really like to extend a little bit, and especially for those which would like to install the agent, the XDR for Cloud agent, there is another package available which is called Cloud Runtime Security. And for those options, as you can see, what you can add on top are additional add-ons which are connected to Cortex in general, right? So it's a little bit like taking those different Lego packages and stitching them all together when it comes to functionalities to get the biggest benefit from this perspective. Yeah. Here is the same, so basically we're again looking at the workload and adding additional capabilities if needed. In between, any questions? If not, I need to be optimistic and assume that this is due to everything being clear. Let me reignite the demo very quickly. To give you a little bit of look and feel from the system perspective. Okay, good afternoon, Eva. So, as you can see, when I'm logging in, I'm getting a full dashboard when it comes to what's going on in my infrastructure. So, I'll be having a visualization of different assets, which are now currently unified under one data lake. And I'm grabbing those assets, doing the assessment, and creating additional cases which I can resolve as a administrator, right? So you can do a full tracking here. The very good thing is, system is extremely flexible. So I can go for different command centers. I can go for different widgets, dashboards. You can really adjust it to yourself. A very similar concept when it comes to XIM as well. When it comes to ingesting the data, the very good thing is currently we are doing just one data ingestion and integration. So within Prisma Cloud, if customer was using different modules, in many cases they needed to ingest some data and do some integrations multiple times. Now it's basically one-click integration to get all of the data, and then if you're enabling additional features, the data is already there, right? So even from the onboarding perspective, this is getting much easier. I was mentioning that we are going for creating of issues and potential cases out of this. It needs a moment here. So as you can see, I'm able to go through all of the potential issues, attach them to additional cases if needed, to get a full overview of potential issues which are available in my environment, right? So I can dig into those incidents and get a full overview, mapping when it comes to Mitra attack if needed as well, right? So as you can see, within one click, I can get a full overview. What was, for example, a reason why certain alert, why certain case was opened in this particular case. So I'm getting information here from multiple sources. I'm getting information from, let's say, scanning the code. I'm getting information from XDR agent itself, right? With some additional justification here. I will be getting information in this particular case also from scanning from cloud security posture management, right? From cloud perspective, we are ingesting all of the logs which are available in the public cloud via the API. We are getting information in regards to logs, traffic, all the assets which are in the cloud, how they are configured, who has access to also to these assets as well. we are having historical information about this asset, right? So especially for the customers which are coming from more regulated industries, and they need to have those historical data and insight into it. Plus, if needed, some additional, let's say, overview when it comes to who provided certain changes and what was the result of those changes. This is available within the product itself. You'll be able to see also assets which are affected by a certain issue, and as you can see, we are having loads of different stuff. I will have identities, meaning people, but also, let's say, non-human identities, right? Within cloud, and cloud-native applications, identity is not only connected to a person, to a human, but also to a virtual machine who also can have certain entitlements when it comes to capabilities to connect, for example, or access certain assets, right? Plus additional things coming from public cloud. I can go, let's go, for example, for the timeline. So like mentioning a full timeline, what was happening in certain case with certain asset, what were the changes and so on. This is all being stored here and presented in this particular case, right? I can go into details when it comes to assets. Everything is clickable, so any drill down analysis for the security operations center, for security team, is very easy in this particular case. When it comes to, let's say, main functions, just to give you an overview, we will have information coming from, let's say, application security capabilities. So full information about potential IAC misconfigurations, vulnerabilities which have been identified at the previous stages, rather than not only into in the production. This will be available. You can sort it, you can filter it, and so on, right? Information about secrets which have been identified within the code will also be there. System has also capabilities, for example, to create a software bill of materials. I don't know if you're aware, software bill of materials it's kind of a good practice coming from the manufacturer companies, car manufacturer companies. If you are getting a notification that your car needs a certain service action, this is actually thanks to the fact that they are keeping a very peculiar list of all the components which have been used to, let's say, manufacture a certain car. And then during time, if they discover that there is an issue with, for example, a certain small screw, they can very quickly identify all the cars which are affected and give you a notice. And this is such a good concept that this is also actually implemented now in software, and some of the customers are actually required to have those software bill of materials. We are cooperating also, for example, with some of the software houses, development houses, and they are saying, hey, we need to provide a software bill of materials once we are going to the customer and providing them an application or application update which we are creating or which we are updating, right? So the additional advantage on our side is, since we have insight into all of the particular parts which are being used by the developer to create the app, the software bill of materials also can be created very, very easily. I was mentioning data security. This is also good to have from the overview perspective. We can do data profiling based on different standards. We can do some additional tagging. You can see some PSI, PHI also for healthcare standards which are being identified here. Data security will be also a basic for us when it comes to AI security. So also going a little bit back to what Petr was mentioning, we are also able to provide a full inventory of all the assets which are connected to a certain model, certain AI model on the customer's side. So this information can also be presented here, and we can also, let's say, provide some additional insight when it comes to potential risks identified with different AI models on the customer side. Those models are also available here if needed. Last but not least, identity security, right? So full information about potential, let's say, over-permissive privileges, which are connected both to users, both to administrators, but also to certain assets within the environment. This is being identified. We are also giving some tips when it comes to how those over-permissive entitlements should be changed. It is a little bit of an issue, let's say it lightly, especially in the cloud environment, like, for example, AWS. AWS has like a huge document when it comes to specifying which entitlements should be assigned to certain assets to enable, for example, communication. Most of the customers are just, scrolling through and giving a very over-permissive permissions. So if you're going by the approach of least privilege, definitely not a good security approach to go into this direction. And those principles, which we are in many cases applying for network security, also should be applied when it comes to identity. So to do it in an effective way and to get some support here is also very, very needed. To sum up, we firmly believe that with Cortex Cloud, we are getting a solution which is able to provide customers a full overview, capabilities to react in an automated way, and provide proper security for cloud-native environments. I have been focusing a lot on cloud today, right? But please remember that, of course, those capabilities via the agent installed can also be extended to the on-prem environment. So if this is something of your interest, or you have a hybrid environment, of course, we can also go into this direction. But if needed, of course, all the benefits of, let's say, having control over public cloud are also available here. Most importantly, Cortex Cloud is giving you a possibility to have a unified data lake for all the Cortex portfolio, which is giving us a very unique capabilities when it comes to unifying the data, analyzing them, correlating them, but also providing a very quick response, which should be a great asset for security operations center teams, but even for the security people. Thank you very much.